Thanks for joining us on this Sunday night. I'm Keely Van Middendorp. First in our headlines tonight, the search for a missing Great Falls motorcyclist continues. Cascade County officials say 22-year-old Tyler Jordan Blodgett, also known as Tyler Hardy, was last seen on Hughesville Road on a motorcycle earlier this morning. His motorcycle was recovered and he is believed to be on foot. Now, Tyler was last seen wearing a brown jacket, black baseball hat, orange Alpine racing pants, and cowboy boots. Crews are searching for him on the ground and in the air. Anyone with information about Tyler's whereabouts is asked to call 911 or that number listed on the bottom of your screen. We'll, of course, continue to update you on air and online. Well, it's been a chilly overall day for our Mother's Day. Our Storm Tracker weather team is standing by to tell us more. Grant Garland joins us now. And Grant, is a little bit dreary out for our holiday.
Oh my gosh, yes. At least though we didn't see any rain, so we had to make it for what it was. But yeah, you're right, Keely. It was definitely cooler today. Temperatures are at this time around 63 degrees, but today's high was 52 in Great Falls, 55 in Helena, 48 in Cut Bank. But if you head on out to Missoula, you guys got lucky, 67 degrees. And for our friends in Helena, today's high did reach a high of 55 degrees. The record, though, set back in 1940 when it was 88 degrees. And that was also the year that, hey, all these Captain America fans, that was the year that he first came out with the comic, the Captain America comic. So, whoo. Temperatures right now, though, 44 degrees in Great Falls, 47 in Helena, 41 in Cut Bank, 42 up in Havre. A little bit chillier, though, down in Lewistown at 37 degrees. Clouds have, well, they've been staying around. They want to be our friend. And we're looking at some moisture off towards Lowell that's trying to creep its way into our neck of the woods. But as we head throughout the night, temperatures dropping down to 5 to 35 degrees by 5 a.m. And coming up, we'll talk about our chances for snow as well as when we can expect a nice little warm-up. Keely?
Grant, we'll check back in with you soon. Moving now to the coronavirus front, no new confirmed cases to report in Montana, leaving the total at 458 tonight. There are still 20 active cases statewide. Toole County still leads the state with 7. And across the country, officials say the April jobs report was historically dismal, with 20.5 million American jobs reportedly lost. While the overall employment figures are bad, the losses in the food and drink business are particularly staggering. Restaurants and bars have 3 times the job losses of any other industry in America. The National Restaurant Association says they have lost 3 decades worth of jobs in just the last 2 months. The nation's eating and drinking establishments shed more than 5.5 million jobs in April alone. Restaurant employment has fallen to its lowest level since 1989 because of the coronavirus pandemic. On Friday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics announced a national unemployment rate hovering near 15% and climbing. The national restaurant industry is now asking Congress for targeted relief for its industry and employees. And experts say extensive testing, social distancing, and contact tracing are essential for safely reopening the nation's economy. With unemployment levels close to 15% and rising, members of the Trump administration are looking at more ways to intervene. CBS's Nicole Killian has the latest from the White House.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is more than doubling the number of city workers deployed as social distancing ambassadors to more than 2,000.
We're going to increase intensely the number of public servants who are out there educating, providing face coverings, reminding people of the rules, helping people to get it right.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says his state could have what he calls a massive contact tracing effort up and running in the next few weeks.
In order to reopen businesses, in order for people to feel confident, we have to make sure that we're constantly growing those efforts.
Even with states working on reopening plans, White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett says by June, unemployment could reach 20%, levels not seen since the Great Depression.
We understand why the economy is slowing down, and we expect that we can reverse it. Whereas in the Depression, there were a lot of other things, a lot of policy errors and so on that made the whole thing drag out.
Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin says the White House is considering a number of options, including another round of stimulus checks.
The president has said and wants to make sure before we rush back and do the next bill and spend more taxpayer money. We just want to be thoughtful.
After coming into contact with people at the White House who tested positive for COVID-19, 3 coronavirus task force members have placed themselves in quarantine. Dr. Anthony Fauci is said to be at relatively low risk based on the nature of his exposure. He is tested negative and will be tested regularly. Also quarantining are CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield and FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
Thanks, Nicole. It's now 10:09 and just ahead, beef industry officials are asking for an investigation into antitrust laws. More from ag experts after the break.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on Montana's news leader.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. As profits for U.S. meat processors reach record levels, the U.S. beef cattle industry is questioning whether or not antitrust laws were broken, especially as cattlemen receive less money for their livestock, even as consumer demand remains strong. And now President Trump is weighing in with more on this story. Here's the Montana Ag Network's Russell Nemitz.
Well, as the spread between the price of live cattle and box beef continues to widen, President Trump is answering the call from the U.S. beef cattle industry to have the U.S. Justice Department look into allegations that U.S. meat processors broke antitrust laws as prices paid to producers have declined even as consumer demand remains strong and meat processors continue to enjoy record profits.
I've asked the Justice Department to look into it, okay? I've asked them to take a very serious look into it because it shouldn't be happening that way. And we want to protect our farmers. But they're looking into that very strongly.
The president's comments come on the heels of a recent letter to U.S. Attorney General William Barr by several state attorney generals, including Montana's Tim Fox, also requesting an investigation.
We need to not only investigate this, but we, I believe, need to trust bust these 4 large meat packers. And we need to get to a more regional market system where we have processors that are either in Montana or close to Montana. We need to look at having co-ops and other ways in which we can market the best beef in the world here from Montana, label it Montana beef, and make sure that our consumers and our producers are protected.
And just last month, the Montana Stock Growers Association joined 22 other state cattlemen's associations in also requesting an investigation into beef pricing margins. In Billings, Russell Nemitz, MTN News.
And in our capital city, Tizer Meats in Helena is predicting a pork shortage this fall. MTN's Alexia Guayo sat down with the owner to see what this means for local consumers.
I keep buying them until that we satisfied the market. Well, we didn't satisfy the market. We just had to finally shut it off because we sold well over 800, and we're a relatively small shop for taking on that big of a bite. But we didn't know that we would sell that many, and we basically sold that many in 3 days.
Matt is referring to this, a sale of processing an entire pig for just $300. Tizer Meat says the price is low because processing plants had to close due to the pandemic, which makes the hog's price low. But that may not last long because, as it says in the sale, there's an incoming pork shortage.
Matt says some hog farms had to euthanize some of their baby pigs because they didn't know how long this pandemic would last.
Now you've got a week or 10-day block in there that there aren't going to be any hogs available, so that's where the shortage is going to come.
Matt predicts the price of pork and possibly other meats will go up between September to October of this year. He says he won't be surprised if an average $2.50 pork chop will go up to about $5. So what can consumers do to prepare for this shortage?
Go to the fair this summer and buy a pig at the fair and buy it local and get it processed local. It's going to be a consumer education deal for people that have never bought a half a beef or a whole hog or a half a hog or any, they've always went to the grocery store and bought exactly what they wanted.
In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTN News.
And during the past few months, we've seen communities come together and spread love. This past week, one Great Falls community member decided to spread spuds, distributing potatoes throughout the state and the city. When farmers near Billings announced they had potatoes that needed picking up, Great Falls resident Kenton Miller was quick to load up his car. He filled up a trailer with thousands of pounds of potatoes and shared those with food banks in several cities, including Missoula, Ronan, and Great Falls. Yesterday, he picked up another load and distributed them straight from his residence, offering taters for the taking and accepting donations only to cover the cost of gas. Miller said these potatoes have allowed him to plant positivity in Great Falls. He plans to do another distribution sometime this week.
No, I bet Napoleon Dynamite would like those tater tots. I don't know things, but I don't know. We have a spring storm that will be swinging through our area, allowing for Cutbank to receive possibly 1 to 3 inches. And we do have also a warm up on the way that we're going to talk about right after this break.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. In light of COVID-19 uncertainty, greenhouse officials around the state report an uptick in people purchasing veggies. They say first-time gardeners should keep it simple. Start with 1 tomato, 1 cucumber, and a couple of peppers. Throw them in your pots on your patio.
And you'll want to place them in an area where they'll get a lot of sunlight and plant them in a fertilizer if they're outside. Bring them in at night until temperatures rise to protect them, of course, from the frost. Also be mindful of any harmful chemicals.
Definitely a good recap of some greenhouses around the state, but it's not really planting weather as far as the next few days. Maybe it would be a good idea to take your plants inside in the safety of the indoors.
Oh, definitely. And I've learned also never wrap them in plastic, your plants outside, because it will burn the foliage.
I didn't even know
that.
That
you
is
learn
interesting.
something every day. Who knew? Hashtag pink. But anyways, as we look outside right now, we've got a nice transition from gold to black again, like the Pittsburgh Steelers colors. I know a lot of people love them. And taking a look as we go into the next couple of hours, we're going to see our temperatures that, well, will be into the low 30s, but we're going to have to get there first. We're seeing temperatures right now currently at around the, 44 degree mark, and we're seeing that wind speed of around, 15 miles an hour, which is creating that feel-like temperature of around 37 degrees, so definitely bundle up. And as we head towards Helena, we're looking at temperatures around 47 degrees. That 9-mile-per-hour wind out of the north allowing for temperatures to feel right at 43 degrees. Elsewhere, seeing similar temperatures out towards Glasgow, 40 degrees, 34 in Jordan. As you head on out to Missoula, 52 degrees, 47 in Kalispell. Head on down to Bozeman, 43 degrees. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at clouds really staying along Cutbank, Great Falls, into Lewistown, kind of like this swath area right here. And some moisture trying to creep in down towards Lowell. That will have a better chance as we head throughout the next part of the morning. And that is all thanks to this stationary front. This stationary front is allowing for us to continue that moisture to be pumped in, as well as for our winds to continue to be brought down from the north, allowing for us to stay cold. So we're going to see our low pressure get in sync with the front by 6 in the morning. As it does so, we will start to see a few scattered showers starting about around the noontime hour. And I wouldn't be, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I wouldn't be caught off guard if I saw a few snowflakes walking out in the morning tomorrow for those in Helena. So heads up, you guys could see a few snowflakes. As we head throughout the day, we're going to see this low pressure kick up a lot of that moisture. Well, thanks to the stationary front. The southwestern parts of Montana will see the rain first tomorrow night. As we continue to go throughout the evening into tomorrow, into Tuesday morning, we will see that low pressure get closer towards us. We're going to see a big swath of snow that tries to push towards Cutbank and Havre. Great Falls and Helena could receive some snow as well on Tuesday morning. As that spring storm does start to swing towards the east, we're going to be looking at a lot of rainfall too. And it's not only going to be a certain part of the day, we're expecting to see this rain continue throughout the day on Tuesday as the low pressure starts to track off towards the east. So heads up, that is expected to happen. But how much snow? We are expecting to get 1 to 3 inches of snow possible in Cutbank out towards Kalispell, Great Falls, and Helena, seeing probably less than ½ an inch of snow. So it's not going to be here for long, and it's also not going to accumulate that much. As far as rain totals go, as we head into the next 48 hours, by Tuesday morning, 10 a.m., we could be looking at a few places seeing over 1/10 of an inch of rain in Great Falls down towards Helena. over 2/10 of an inch of rain. Lewistown starting to pick up 6/100 of an inch of rain, and the rain will be making its way towards Havre. So don't worry, we are expecting for Havre to get in on some rainfall. As far as our winds are concerned, starting around tonight into tomorrow morning, we'll be looking at 10 to 20 miles an hour possible for our area. For the next 7 days, I hate to say it, we're going to be continuing to see a good chance of rain each and every day starting on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to add in the wind factor. Thursday, chance for scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Friday, scattered storms possible throughout the day. Our next best day will be on Saturday, temperature 70 degrees with mostly sunny skies. And for Helena, we're looking at really the same situation, even though I think that we're going to see more thunderstorms down there than up in Great Fall. Keely, back to you.
Grant. Well, Brush Crazy in Great Falls took a hit from the coronavirus restrictions. With patrons not allowed inside their Central Avenue studio, they had to get a little creative. MTN's Matt Holzaffel shares their story of finding light even in the dark.
When the whole COVID thing hit, we had to scramble because we weren't allowed to have customers come into the studio.
In the face of coronavirus restrictions and social distancing guidelines,
What we had to do is reinvent our business.
first, Brush Crazy started offering to-go art kits, spelled G-O-G-H, like Vincent van Gogh. You know, the art, you get it. Then, an opportunity to pursue an old idea.
It honestly has been super, super tough, but what it's also opened up on the positive side is our virtual classes. And so with virtual classes, we can do a Zoom meeting or a Google Hangouts or whatever we want to use for our platform, and customers will have a link to join us, and then we'll teach the class through that process.
Virtual classes had always been a thought for Brush Crazy, which also has studios in Columbus, Ohio and Colorado Springs. The rise in popularity of virtual meeting hubs like Zoom and Google Hangouts paved the way for this, a part virtual, part in-person painting class.
People can still even come in, pick up their kit, take it home, and paint from home and join the Zoom meeting as well. So in Ohio, that's of course 2 hours difference, and Colorado Springs can still join in as well on the Zoom meeting.
And it's more convenient as well.
That way each studio can have their own artist teaching certain classes. It does still help on labor because now we'll have, instead of 3 different people being paid, we have 1 person being paid to teach the class. So that helps all 3 studios, save on their resources.
Sunday's class was the first combination virtual and in-person class, just in time for Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
And Brush Crazy asks that if you want to attend a painting class, you reserve your spot on their website. This allows them to manage the amount of people in their studio at one time. Up next on the 10 o'clock news, we head to campus to break down the future of Big Sky basketball. The latest from UM after the break.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on Montana's News Leader.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. Well, earlier this week, Montana men's basketball coach Travis DeCoulier met with the media for the first time since the Big Sky tournament was canceled, where he detailed the future of the program, the effects COVID-19 might have on college basketball, and much more. Montana Sports' Kyle Hansen has the story.
Travis DeCoulier knows as well as anyone the impacts COVID-19 has had on the sporting world. The Big Sky Conference tournament in Boise was canceled the same day the Montana Grizzlies were due to begin tournament play, and UM never had a chance to chase a tournament three-peat. Going forward, DeCouilier's views on the future of the sport and how it is played is clear.
We'll play the game however we need to play it, wherever we need to play it. I'll play outside. I have no problem with it. So we just got to be ready to adjust. I just hope we have a season. And if we have a season, I'll be excited about that.
UM's coaches have had to adjust to the way they recruit with no on-campus visits possible right now and contact strictly over the phone. DeCoulier and company made some splashes with the transfer portal, and the Grizz will be fruitful with talent come next season. The team added transfers Cameron Parker from Sacred Heart and Cam Satterwhite from Northern Arizona, along with the 4 incoming freshmen they signed in November. Aside from graduations, no major players transferred out of the program, meaning Montana returned 6 players who saw significant minutes from a season ago. Plus, transfers Nassim Gaskin and Michael Stedman will be eligible after sitting out a year, and mid-year transfer Darius Henderson will be eligible after the fall semester. That's 15 players vying for big minutes, but DeCoulier said he doesn't foresee any more changes to the roster this offseason.
All hands on deck. I think the biggest strength with the group we have returning is chemistry. They all want to win. They're all willing to make sacrifices for the team. They all have already done that in some way or another.
The transfer additions help the young Grizz team get older. For the underclassmen, minutes that before were easier to come by are now going to be tested.
They can still get those minutes they thought that they would get prior to us adding 2 people. You just got to go out and earn them. And I think that was a weakness for us this year, was that there was no competition for minutes for guys. No guys out there, whether they played well or not. And that led to some of our inconsistencies.
If and when the season is played, DeCure says the biggest hit will probably be in attendance nationwide, but he thinks Montana might be an outlier in that category.
People slip through the cracks, right, in terms of season ticket holders. Your walk-ups should probably go down just because, there's going to be people that don't want to sit by someone. Now, for us, Montana didn't get hit that hard. And so I think that our typical fans, our community, will be less hesitant than in some of the places that we'll go.
Like many sports fans, DeCure's attention has also been captivated by ESPN's Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. And when asked if he thinks Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, DeCure's answer was simple.
It's not even open for discussion. If you watch The Last Dance closely and you see what he went through to get to the top, I think there's no question he's the GOAT. If Magic Johnson and Charles Barkley say he's the GOAT, he's the GOAT.
In Missoula, Kyle Hansen, MTN Sports.
And before we head to break, we wanted to share this Mother's Day story. Highgate Senior Living decided to make the day memorable with a drive-through parade for those mothers and grandmothers who couldn't spend today with their families. MTN's Lindsay Hyatt stopped by the senior center to film the festivities.
For many families, this Mother's Day is unlike the rest. But the staff at Highgate Senior Living were committed to making this year's celebration the absolute best.
We usually do a Mother's Day brunch, and since we couldn't do that this year, I wanted to do something very special that our residents will never forget.
That's especially true for those families celebrating mothers and grandmothers with dementia, like Catlin Marcinek.
Kind of the only way we have to tell her Happy Mother's Day, and hopefully she can connect it.
While Marcinek isn't sure her mother will remember, she can do her best to make sure she doesn't forget.
Even though you think maybe they don't get it, she might get it.
And if not, that she would at least enjoy it.
That she would get excited and actually be able to see the sign and read it, and that she has fun.
And granddaughter Laura Booz didn't see her grandma in the parade, but wasn't taking that as a sign to quit.
Since we all were here and we haven't seen her in so long, we really wanted to make sure that she saw us and knows that we're here and that we care, and just that she knows we're thinking about her.
And with a little hooting, hollering, and help from the staff, she got her wish.
I was crying. It was super emotional for me, and my kids got to see her. She was so happy when she saw us all, and so I was really happy that the staff saw that and accommodated us.
So that everyone could have a Mother's Day worth remembering. In Great Falls, Lindsay Hyatt, MTN News.
And welcome back. In this month's edition of A Waiting Child, MTN's Jenny Fick introduces us to 12-year-old Anthony.
Anthony is very creative. He loves storytelling.
He loves Pokemon, though he can't pick a favorite.
Mewtwo. Okay, that's the strongest Pokemon.
Is ready for a successful discharge from New Day. So that goes to show that he's completed all of his goals that he's worked on for over a year. Does struggle with mean people. That really bothers him. So he's just a very kind-hearted, just sweet boy.
Anthony is off the charts intelligent with a wide knowledge of all the interworkings of video games and computers.
He is someone who's never complained about his situation. He has said that he would love to just have 2 parents who love him, and he would love to have an older brother that would play with him. Of course, a family with pets or a dog. Being somewhere where he knows that he's content and permanent and is comfortable.
You go in the wheel.
He is really funny.
I want to bring in something sweet. Cake pie. Like throw pie and cake. Together.
I love it. And he's really, really good at Uno. He beats me in Uno pretty much every time we play. So, no mercy.
In Billings, Jenny Fick, MTN News.
All right, starting off tomorrow morning, 35 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. It will be an overcast day for us here in Great Falls, so just heads up. Also, bring the jacket. For Helena, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys saw maybe a few snowflakes starting you out the door as you head out for your morning commute. But don't worry, everything should turn into an overcast day by the afternoon.
Hey, maybe a hot cup of hot coffee,
Yep.
extra sweet tea for you.
Amen. You're right.
And it should be a good start to the week. That's all the time we have on the 10 o'clock news. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you bright and early right here on Montana This Morning.